I wish the title of this video was clickbait. I really do. I wish I clickbaited you in and it really wasn't that big of a warning, but unfortunately, this really is accurate. There needs to be a warning to Facebook investors. And that is that I think a lot of Facebook investors don't really know what they're investing in right now. And to some extent, I didn't either, until I listened to the Facebook earnings call and it became abundantly clear that I'm no longer just invested in a social media company and Instagram and Facebook and a marketplace and a growing network. What I'm investing in is Mark Zuckerberg's dream of the metaverse. That's what a lot of my money's going towards. And to put it in perspective, this is not a side project for Zuckerberg. This isn't some little thing that he's doing that he's having fun with. This is his entire focus. You can listen to the enthusiasm on the call when he talks about the metaverse. You can listen to where his priority and focus and even the financial focus of the company is. All the resources, everything's going into the metaverse. This is what he's focused on. And Facebook investors, I don't think, have really come to terms with this. You're no longer just invested in this social media company. You're invested in Mark Zuckerberg's vision of the metaverse. And some of you, I don't even think, know what that is. What is his vision of the metaverse? What even is the metaverse to begin with? Those are questions a lot of people have. And I believe that the metaverse, this future that Mark Zuckerberg is envisioning, is way more important to Facebook investors and the future of the company than any of the quote-unquote newsworthy stuff that's been published about Facebook over the past 3 months. The fact that journalists hate Facebook and publish mean articles about Facebook is something I don't care about. I think I made that pretty clear. I don't care that journalists don't like Facebook and they write mean stuff about them and they blame them for everything wrong. I do not care about that. The Wall Street Journal coming out with hit piece after hit piece on Facebook. I don't care about that. Journalists have always hated Facebook, and for good reason. Facebook does what journalists do, but on a global scale with higher profitability. They're a better way of doing the same thing that journalists do. So the fact that they hate Facebook is of no surprise. That's all short shelf life stuff. That'll simmer down in a couple months. Journalists will move on to a different target. But this thing, this metaverse thing, this future vision of Zuckerberg, I do not think is a temporary thing. This is the future of Facebook. It's very important to Facebook investors, and it's very confusing. So we're going to try to weed through this and make sense of it. What is the metaverse? What is Mark Zuckerberg's vision here? And how much money is he going to be spending on it? So we're going to be going through all of that in this video. Now, before we jump into Facebook specifically and Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse, I need to give a quick update on the Story Fund. This is my real growth portfolio. This is real money, $112,000, $22,000 of that being gains. And the whole goal of this portfolio really is to compound capital as quickly as possible. And the way that I hope to accomplish that, to compound this money as quickly as possible and consistently as possible, is by buying into undervalued, high-quality, world-class companies that I think have the characteristics to grow far beyond what investors have already priced in. That's really what I'm trying to do with this portfolio. So I have a lot of companies that are high-quality companies, companies like Google, Amazon, Alibaba, Netflix, Salesforce, and Spotify. I consider these companies to be very unique, high-quality, and they'll continue to grow beyond what is already priced into the stock. I really believe that. And I'll go over just a couple of them. Google is my biggest conviction, my highest conviction pick, and this one's done really well. Year to date, it's up over 60%. This has been one of the best performing stocks year to date, and I continue to be very bullish on it. I think it will continue to surprise people. It'll continue to go up far past their expectations. This company has YouTube growing at 40% year over year. Their core business remains extremely strong. Their cloud business is growing 45% year over year. They have so many different opportunities. They have huge gross margins. They're highly profitable. They're sitting with over $100 billion of cash. I mean, this company is in a fantastic position. I really can't find that many companies that have this type of situation they're in. So I have a strong expectation of market-beating returns over the next 5 years with Google. Now, after Google, we have Spotify. They just reported their earnings this morning. I haven't had time to listen to the call, but their earnings with the numbers so far look really good. Just a very quick glance at Spotify's numbers, and the company looks more and more attractive as time goes on. I think that these numbers are great, and there's a reason why the stock is up 6% today. Spotify grew its user base by 19%. That's good growth, and that's split between the premium and ad-supported. Both are 19% growth rates, and then the total revenue grew by 27%. This is great growth. People thought that these companies, Spotify and Netflix, would stop growing after 2020, and the pull forward effect would be so strong, and that they were complete duds. That's not the case. Both Netflix and Spotify are growing at pace. They're growing very consistently. I really think that Spotify is an underappreciated company. In my opinion, I think it's only a matter of time until I'm back in the green on this one. I really believe so. The company's growing. It's becoming ubiquitous. Even with the threat of Apple and Amazon Music, you're seeing these growth numbers. They're still growing outside of the pandemic. Even with the big tech competitors, Spotify continues to grow. And they're doing share buybacks. They have free cash flow. They're doing different ideas like live streaming, and they have optionality baked into their platform, and it's selling for $50 billion. That's a pretty good price. The price tag for this company is not anything that's incredible. $50 billion for this company, I think, is very, very reasonable. Next up, we have Microsoft. This one also reported earnings, and it just made investors happy with their investment. If you have any concerns about Microsoft or this business's future, I would encourage you to look up the earnings call and listen to Satya Nadella talk about the company for 20 minutes. He will put you at ease. He will make it so that you can sleep well at night. This man is on top of things. This company is going to grow. It is like an ETF of incredible tech businesses, all unified around Microsoft Azure, all working in unison to grow this giant revenue stream of sticky subscription income. It's an incredible company. So I'm very bullish on Microsoft. I think it's only a matter of time until it's $350. I said that like 6 months ago. I'll say it again. This is a $350 stock. And I really wouldn't be as hesitant to even say this stock could go up to $400. I think it could easily do that over the next year or so. So that's a quick update on a few of these companies that just reported earnings. Overall, if we look at the story fund against the S&P 500, my portfolio is in blue and the S&P 500 is in red. So we're outperforming SPY by around 4 to 5% right now. Not amazing, but with the year that we've had, many people are underperforming this year. It's been tough to beat the S&P 500. It's kind of doing good. So being ahead of it right now, I think is pretty good. Okay, now let's go ahead and jump into the metaverse and Mark Zuckerberg's vision here for the future of Facebook. What I want to do to start this off, I thought this would be fun, is to look at Jim Cramer's his definition of the metaverse. What even is it? He's asked what the metaverse is on CNBC, and this is his response. Here we are. Jim Cramer here talking about the metaverse.
Video showed me what the metaverse was going to look like. I just thought that there was going to be...
what is the metaverse going to look like, Jim? Because I think a lot of people would like to know. What does that mean? What am I doing
You
there?
program people to say what they want. You program... You can talk to people that you know. You can have them in the room with you. You can also have Shakespeare in the room with you.
Second Life, right?
Right.
So
You can program people. You can have people in the room with you. And then suddenly you can have Shakespeare in the room with you. This is Jim Cramer's definition of the metaverse.
you'll have your regular life,
right,
and then you'll have a digital life that you can customize in all kinds of ways.
You'll have a digital life.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you going to... Do you think, if you're at college, that you're going to sit there and learn about Shakespeare from a teacher? You don't learn about Shakespeare from Shakespeare. I mean, I think
he's still on about Shakespeare. You don't want to learn about Shakespeare from a boring teacher. In the metaverse, Shakespeare is going to be there, and he's going to be teaching you about Shakespeare. I'm Shakespeare. Here I am teaching you about me.
Shakespeare knows more about Shakespeare than the teacher knows.
A lot of comparisons in the analyst notes this morning to when Google or when Alphabet carved out Other Bets. Although they say this is a much bigger deal for Facebook than Other Bets, Waymo would be for Alphabet.
Yeah, I remember asking Jensen about what it would look like. I mean, one of the things that you can do also is you can say that you want to be Cezanne, do a seascape. You can be able to communicate with your friends as friends. I mean, in a digital world, your digital world will seem like the movie, like the show Black Mirror. Does anyone see Black Mirror?
I feel a lot like Jim. I feel like I'm on CNBC and I'm one of these boomers trying to wrap my head around what the metaverse is. What even is this? What is Mark Zuckerberg talking about here? And he talks about, okay, Shakespeare is going to be there. Your family and friends are going to be there. It can really be whatever you want. It's like Second Life, right? A lot of people have compared it to like an extension from Roblox. Maybe it's like Ready Player One, right? Where you're living in a video game. There's a lot of people that are wondering what this is even going to be. Well, let's go ahead and go to somewhat of the authority here. This is Mark Zuckerberg. He's the one with the money, and he's the one with the direction here. Let's hear what he has to say about the metaverse. This is straight from their Q3 earnings call just a day or so ago. This is Zuckerberg.
Beyond Reels and commerce, I also want to share some thoughts on our longer-term efforts to build the next computing platform.
So just a little background. Up until this point, he's been talking for about 10 minutes, and he talks about Reels, the new effort to kind of fend off TikTok, right? He wants to do Reels and make that a bigger focus. He wants overall to make the company more appealing to young adults, because TikTok is stealing young adults from Facebook, and Facebook is an aging population, aging demographic. That's not good for the company. So he talks about the efforts with Reels and with the marketplace, and that's good, but there's really no excitement there. There's no enthusiasm there, and then he gets to the metaverse. And listen to how he sounds talking about this.
And help bring the metaverse to life. This is a major area of investment for us and an important part of our strategy going forward. And I view this work as critical to our mission because delivering a sense of presence, like you're right there with another person, that's the holy grail of online social experience. Over the next decade, these new platforms are going to start to unlock the kinds of experiences that I've wanted to build since before I even started Facebook.
He says over the next decade. So he's spending $10 billion starting this year, already spending $10 billion that he could be giving back to shareholders through dividends or through share buybacks or growing different platforms. But he's spending that on the metaverse. And this is an investment that could take 10 years for it to pay off. So this isn't a short-term thing.
Along with those social experiences, I expect a massive increase in the creator economy and amount of digital goods and commerce. If you're in the metaverse every day, then you'll need digital clothes and digital tools and different experiences. Our goal is to help the metaverse reach 1 billion people and hundreds of billions of dollars of digital commerce this decade.
He says that if you're in the metaverse, you're going to need digital clothes and digital tools. And our goal is to help grow this to like 1 billion users. What he's really saying is our goal is to own this platform. So when people are buying all these digital goods on the metaverse platform, they're paying a little bit to Facebook. That's what he really wants to do here.
And strategically, helping to shape the next platform should also reduce our dependence on delivering our services through competitors.
This ties into Mark Zuckerberg's very apparent hate for Apple and Tim Cook. He hates the company. He hates the CEO. He doesn't like that Facebook is on a lower rung than Apple. Apple's on the top of the food chain there. They're the lion of the animal kingdom. Apple lets Facebook have the scraps that they want. That's really the relationship here. When you control the device, when you have this thing and you're the one controlling what goes on it and what doesn't, and the policies on the device, you control how all the other people play with your platform. Apple's in the point of control. Apple can do whatever they want with almost anyone. Even Google, that powerful company with multiple, I think, quasi-monopolies, pays Apple $10 to $12 billion per year to be defaulted on their little browser, on Safari. Think about that, $12 billion a year just to be defaulted. That's the control that Apple has over the eyes and the hands of millions of people that use their devices. And Mark Zuckerberg is driven crazy by this. I think there's a personal vendetta here. I literally think that he openly hates Tim Cook and Apple, and he does not want them to control the platform of the future, which he strongly believes is the metaverse. So he's directing all resources and directing everything into the metaverse, and he's just giving enough for current investors to be happy. Hey, we're going to continue generating profits. We're going to do some share buybacks. That'll keep you happy. Meanwhile, I really want to control the next platform, which is the metaverse. So when he says, yeah, we want to lower our dependence on Apple, I think that is an understatement. I think that this whole thing is largely driven by being controlled by Apple and them wanting to break free of that.
Building the foundational platform for the metaverse will be a long road. We just released the 128 gigabyte Quest 2, replacing the 64 gigabyte model for $299. With EssilorLuxottica, we released our first smart glasses, and they're off to a strong start as well. But bringing this vision to life isn't just about building one glasses product. There's a whole ecosystem. We're building multiple generations of our VR and AR products at the same time, as well as a new operating system and development model, a digital commerce platform, content studios, and, of course, a social platform.
That's a lot of effort there. This is a lot of resources going into here. And this is where he talks about, because they're going to be pouring so much resources in here, it's going to hurt the balance sheet of Facebook. So they want to break that away. They want to make it apparent, hey, all this dead money, that's all going into this. So that's really what we know so far directly from Zuckerberg himself. He's excited about it. He's building out all these multiple platforms, and he doesn't want to be beholden to Apple, but we don't know much beyond that. Here is another little clip of Gene Munster talking about the metaverse, and he's asked really what the metaverse is, and here's his thoughts on it.
Well, I think it starts with what is the metaverse, and I can say that we frequently talk to people at the largest companies and some of the startups, and across the board, everyone has a different view of what the metaverse is. I think the best way to think about what the metaverse is that it is trying to describe the metaverse today and Web 3.0, the future of the internet, all of that, I think for me misses the mark. I think about this as trying to describe the internet in 1992. I would have described it something like they're computers that are connected to each other, a network of computers for messaging, something to that effect. And of course, it's evolved to be much more. And so I think this metaverse piece is something that is significant. I've talked about it as something that concerns me just in terms of where, as humans, we're going to be interacting. But then again, I'm old. I'm 50. I'm going to be part of the past. And so the reality is, if you're under 20 years old, you're going to want to engage in the metaverse. So to answer your question is, the metaverse is a huge deal. I think Facebook has a ton of flaws. I think that their products don't make us better off. That's an understatement. But I do think that what the company is doing, as hard as it is for me to say it, I think the reality is what they're doing is building a future that a lot of people want to be a part of, and they're going to be a connecting point to that and build investor value along the way.
So Gene Munster thinks that this can build investor value. I think it certainly has that potential, but as of right now, I'm not quite so sure. Now, this continues on. He's asked more about the metaverse and Facebook, and I want to hear his thoughts on it because he does have similar thoughts with the motivations of Mark Zuckerberg creating this big divergence with his company.
In IDFA, this is the exact reason why Facebook doesn't like Apple, is because they are beholden to Apple's devices. I think Apple, I believe strongly, I think that's the best of all things to own. Incredible company, great upside here. I don't think Facebook and Apple see eye to eye. And I think what you're seeing with this breakout of Reality Labs is Facebook laying the gauntlet down and saying that they want to take on, whether it's Apple or Google or Samsung, they want to be a big player. They want to control their destiny when it comes to the metaverse. And I understand what they're doing, and I think that it's probably going to work by breaking this out. I think investors are going to say, thank goodness they're spending 10, 20, 15 billion, whatever the number is on the metaverse. Can't spend enough on it, and give them a pass.
Now, I agree with Gene here that Facebook has good reason to want to get around Apple and get ahead of them and not be beholden to them in the App Store. Where I kind of diverge and where I don't really agree is that this is a sure bet or this will create shareholder value. I'm not so convinced. I think that this might destroy shareholder value. I really don't know if Zuckerberg's bet on the metaverse is going to be a gigantic, fantastic flop and something that just burns money year after year after year, or if it's going to be the next platform. It's really too early to tell. But what is very apparent is, again, if you're an investor in Facebook, you're not investing in just a beaten down social media platform. You are investing in Mark Zuckerberg's vision of the future, and a lot of your money is going to be going to that. So keep that in mind. Just a fair warning for you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next episode.